Hi Virgo, I'm Susan, your intuitive, and this is your love and money intuitive tarot and astrology reading for the month of June, also known as Gemini season for the most part. So let's get into your reading. We're going to start with love and Virgo risings. I mean, a lot just moved out of your 7th house if you have, that main placement. And that is your marriage, commitment, partnership, one-on-one business partners, clients, like there's even legal matters. So much just shifted out of there. And I was just thinking about which planet is probably the most effective. I think all of them, but Neptune being in there for 14 years has probably been the more confusing of them. A lot of changes, escapism, perhaps. And my cards have been upside down, so this is actually right side up. Page of Swords. Regardless of whatever you experienced, or in honor of, right? In honor of everything you experienced, now there's this fresh new start that can begin, whether you're in a relationship, and Ace of Pentacles just fell out. Whether you're in a relationship or you're wanting one, or you're wanting to have an enjoyable love life, like whatever that means to you. And now you get to build for a prosperous, fruitful, look at that longevity here. And it's not without, right, new beginnings. They sound amazing, and they are. But anyone starting a new beginning, there is even if the most optimistic, happiest person, usually those are the ones you have to look out for if you didn't know it. There's this transition period, and it all depends, right? Like, it could be from programming, it could be fear, there could be many different things that come up during transition times, and we're having a transition time, especially, for you guys that have been feeling that. And even though it feels fresh and new, there's also this youthfulness to it. And I don't want to say naivete, an immaturity that feels good. A childlike nature, Page of Swords, this playfulness. It's like you're getting older, you're maturing, you're learning, whatever stage, or if all the stages of your life is that. And you're just choosing to keep this childlike way about you, the wittiness, maybe the banter. And perhaps there is less to focus on, meaning because, I'm gonna say this as nicely as I can, as some of Virgo placements, I hope you take this whatever way you take it, because Virgos do have the tendency, and they are known for criticism on the negative side, even though that could be looked at as you're always evolving into the more perfect version of yourself, if the criticism or the feedback or the want for change is coming from more of a negative response or reaction, then of course that's something to take a look at. Is that really needed or necessary? Are you avoiding, or are you trying to control, whatever it is for you? And for others, it could be that you just like improvement. And maybe you're someone that I think of right now, I'm thinking of I love watching people fix their house and interior design their house. Not all the time, but there are times when I go through that, because eventually I will have my own place where I can do that. I have a place, but it's not the same kind of thing. And it's really fun to watch people really go at it, no matter what it is. I like watching those aesthetic, dopamine, the lots of colors. But then I also love just people who show their spaces, and the ones that I'm attracted to, right? So that improvement is coming at a cost of the creative energy that they're expressing. That's just something that gives them energy, perhaps, and they share it with the world. So that's kind of, I know we're talking about love here, but it's for the love of something. It's for the love of creation. It's for the love of yourself. And we're going back to the criticism of is it criticism because you're reacting from something, or is it actually like improving? Is it helping? Helping versus harmful is one of my favorites. But you can take that for what you will. Like, these cards are being very specific with you. Queen of Pentacles. You're someone that knows how hard you work. You know you have value to you just as anyone else, but there's a certain worthiness. There's a certain shift that happens with this lightness that you're experiencing now. And this gateway, this next way, this next path comes at the cost of your own decision. What is worthiness to you, right? Is this relationship going to build together? How do I want it to continue to form? Right now you're in this restructuring place. There's a lot of time to experiment. Is this the person I want to experiment with? If you're that person, you're just maybe asking yourself these questions, but you're more settled in who you are, so you get to look at it in a way that, like, this isn't a person that you've defaulted to. You're now choosing from even greater control from how you feel about yourself and how you feel about this dynamic. And there may be some things you do need to speak up about, and it comes off this way, but it may come off in a light way. However, there is like this depth. There's more of a depth to it. And you might be wanting to present something as an option of growth in the future and abundance and what that looks like. And you may actually want to have a real conversation about that. If you haven't, like, or maybe you just touch and go on them, but you may be the one wanting to present what this looks like and how you're building. And it's because you possibly just want a brief, if you don't want to like a detailed like 5-year plan, there's like an outline that is now beginning to truly form, because it's not just escaping. And even though Aries did not come out, it's a fire sign, but it's a very physical sign. And it's here to make physical progress. Like, progress, earth signs love. You know, it won't always be that, but it's making certain things physical that gives clarity and understanding. And now you get to build from a place where perhaps for some amount of time, it's been maybe hard to approach certain subject. There's not as much escapism, avoidance, nor anxiety, because it's being put somewhere. And if you're feeling like strong feelings, heavy feelings, or heightened feelings, it's time to assess and ask yourself like where you're not maybe being honest with where you're at. And that will help you move forward with whatever plan it is you're wanting to move forward and move toward, and what kind of energy you want to give it. No matter what, or what brings you to the conversations or the planning, and actually, I think it's actually doing the physical things about it too. So if like you're wanting to travel more, you're starting to save money, right? You're actually putting towards a fund. If you're wanting to move out, you're actually doing that on top of like, okay, maybe in a couple months we start looking for places, or we're talking about it more, like what are we looking for in terms of, right? So it's doing it together. Now, I haven't really talked if you're single, but this is really, if you just take everything I said and apply it as if you're single, like you're being presented an opportunity to clear your mind in a way that isn't so attached to a certain outcome, because there's less fear of the mystery. Weirdly enough, we've been in such a confusing time. And for you, Virgo, like that meant like being in and out of these really different emotions that you couldn't quite put form to. So it's been a lot of learning about yourself, how you act in times of change. And I know you're a mutable sign, right? Mutable signs are more adaptable. Yeah, sure. But there needs to still be a structure to a person. And so now there's like more feedback to that structure, and in a way that really like you just like, there's this like, it's like that hit you get in your brain that like every time you accomplish something that you wanted to accomplish, big or small, it's like that task thing about Virgos. And it may not be like that specific of like chores, but it's like you've got into like a checkpoint, and you can take a look around, and it may not be what you thought it was perhaps, but it is still something to, and you're a life, not just something, but a life to not only be proud of, but to honor yourself for, and honor like who you've become, because that is more important than what you've built around you. Why? Because now you get to build from a different place. So like, even if you did build a structure, you know, would it still be sustainable to who you are now and who you're becoming? And that is, now you're starting to see like what generosity looks like, what charity looks like. So as a sign who loves to help, you're the healer, right? It comes from a pure place. It comes from a place of like, I know how to improve. Like, I know how to do this. And now you're starting to see like, well, what am I actually interested in? If you've already have interests in things, you're starting to actively pursue them in a way that it could potentially make money. And it could just be like one stream of income. It doesn't have to be like your sole lookout. You're able to see that. You're maybe able to see like your unique niche or your unique insight on things that could be translated through many different outlets, right? Or it's finding different outlets that could be translated through one, and like everything in between, right? Those are just obviously examples of the extremes. And what I was saying by charity is, now you're also taking a look at, okay, from this worthy place, I'm not like, I can see myself clearly, I can see what I want clearly, I can feel it. But now where is it that I give of myself or overgive of myself that actually backfires, that actually is not mine? Where do I actually need to grow in terms of, if you know someone needs help, you're not acting off of because you know it, or you're suffering because of their suffering. People have to be able to grow, and you're someone who can be extremely nurturing in a way that when you are really secure in your worth, where it's not like on this wavering thing, it's very in place, and everything, then it's like, oh, everything else becomes sand, right? Everything else becomes moldable glass, whatever you want to create, Virgo. And where are you giving from, right? Then you can realize that the reason why you don't need to step in there is because whatever they need to learn is what they need to learn, and you're needing to learn to pull that back and be this lighter version of yourself. Be the light that you are in whichever direction you want to go in. And if you've already done that in certain ways, I think you're going to start to see that in areas of your life, cards, and see where now you can like build a different map. Like, you've built, or you've had an outline, and now it's like recreated because you understand something different. You know, you're the one who understands. So it's this observation of where you're at. It's like it's a reflection period. And I didn't even look at I'm like, what really is this? And it's an integration of all that you've had to. So you might feel this for quite a minute. Like, you might have like month to month like revelation of because everything has gone out of Pisces until September. So then we get back into your season, and Saturn goes back into Pisces for a bit, and you get to actually like bear witness to the change or to the shift or whatever it is. Because I'm not saying you need to change. However, if you're here, you're looking for insight of some sort. So or you're just seeing like where you didn't once feel as secure within yourself and within your relationships or within love. And now you get to see like where in love, and that's what I meant, like where in love, and I said about work, my apologies, but where in love do you each need to find? And even like when you're dating, like when do you learn about things? Like, do you hold back? Like, what do you hold back? What is it about that? Is it the person, right? So is it your nature? Is it the person? Is it, what is it? And Gemini season wants to tell you things about money. It's like, okay, like let's now talk about money. What's that plan, Virgo's like? Enough about love. Okay, so first we have the Lovers, the Four of Wands, the Fool, and the King of Wands. We have the Seven of Pentacles at the bottom. All right. Cards here. Okay, so before we get started, all information to work with me one-on-one is below. My website, payment options, schedule link, Patreon, which is the second version or like the extended version of this reading. It's the direct link to the Virgo extended for June specifically. If you subscribe, everything Virgo related or free content that I put on Patreon goes right to your email. So if you're looking for that, there's that for you. And yeah, everything is below. So Gemini season, Gemini, your fellow mercurial sign, and all of this Aries energy we've been talking about. So now we're going to take a look at, so it's your 10th and your 11th house. Or no, sorry, your 10th house and your 8th house. And for Virgo risings, your 10th house is about your career, your role that you play, the role that you play in the grand scheme of your life. Like, what do people come to you for? Like, what is it? What's that thing that you do? And there's something revealing to you in connection to love, but also connection to how that relates to making money and how you build your foundations, what that has looked like from the outside. And now that you're maybe experiencing it intimately, there's a freedom of knowing where this particular characteristic or programming lack, where it came from and where it showed up. And for some of yous, it might be held in the lungs, right? It might be held in the lungs, or it could be about your extremities. It could be about your hands, as well as your head. That's Aries. So something that you, again, that giving, overgiving, undergiving, there's this freedom that you're finding, and this very strong, secure part of you, maybe even headstrong, is now seeing something from a perspective that how you work is how perhaps you worked in the world since you were younger. And you're getting a very clear view of communication, whether it's like a realization, someone, even a Gemini or an Aries, like communicating to you something specific that really hits directly to how you were raised, how you grew up, and how you received money, because the 8th house is about other people's money. So like if you work for someone, like who you're receiving that money from, and there's a change in that. You have more passion, more drive to do for yourself in a way that's actually very helpful to the balance of the love section, to the romance. And you can now find more freedom perhaps in your mind, or breathe in a different way, where you feel more secure, where you feel like you can almost demand or manifest things into existence, because there's less attachment to something because of what you've needed to perhaps grieve or go through during all of that Piscean energy. For others of you, it's learning that you're not really, like, even though you've committed to a place, you don't necessarily need to, it's weird, I said this to Leo, but it means something different for you. You don't necessarily need to like leave altogether in order to free yourself. This is about freeing yourself within any confinements that you're in. Not that you have to stay there, but also allowing yourself to even consider moving forward, or moving forward on something that you've been very passionate about and you want to become more vocal about. It is starting to really formulate within you. There's a different experience that you're wanting to have, especially with money, and there's this part of you that feels like you can really learn and grow and prosper, because you do feel more secure within yourself. You trust more of your own decisions, and it's perhaps like the environment that you're in is no longer, good for you. Maybe you're really allowing yourself to move beyond even codependency. Like, codependency is something we talk about. There's this individual nature but you're still connected. So you're connecting something about wanting to work with other people, but wanting the freedom to explore and find maybe various streams of income. And there's an excitement about this, but it's also like you're facing the part of you that you're facing the part of yourself that struggles with authority. And I feel like struggling with authority is struggling with, those demanding figures. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like a father figure or a mother figure. It's that anywhere, it could be a coach or a teacher, anywhere in your life, or, a family member that expected a lot from you. And it may even been unconscious or subconscious, or you put it on yourself. Either way, that was there. And now you're breaking free from that authority in how you value money, how you create money, how you go about making money. There's a change and there's a breakthrough that you might want to communicate, you might want to write down, you might need to talk about, you may need to integrate, but there's this breakthrough that happens and you realize that there has been somewhat of an authority. And for some of you, that person may still be in your life. So you can sense this and see this now. And it's like been a hidden secret in plain sight almost to yourself, but you just didn't know till now. And now you get to take a look at what it is that you have, and it makes you become more authentic. It makes you realize like there is a lot more freedom to having this open heart, open discussion. I don't need to necessarily hide myself because I don't need to escape anymore. I don't need to avoid anymore. Like, actually facing my reality is more of creating the dream. And that's the feeling of this Neptune and Aries and Saturn and Aries. And it's sometimes just facing the day-to-day, and what used to be the day-to-day was whatever your childhood was. So wherever you're at now, it's not that that's completely gone, it's just different people or different things and different environments, and now you're kind of, whatever was not faced is becoming quite outlined, clear, whatever you want to call it. So I just think this excites you more than anything because, Virgo, I think there's an authority you like to have over your life. There's a control you like to have over your life in a certain way, and you can really utilize this Gemini energy in your life to break free from whatever role you were put under, or whatever this dual nature that you've had to play for quite some time because you felt like you had to keep something up. But now you're perhaps safe enough within your nervous system. Maybe you have been breathing more, like really taking deep breaths, doing meditation, yoga nidras, whatever you need to do to regulate. And it could be like letting shit out. Like, it could be so much, Virgo. Perfect time to do it. Reestablishing with yourself, like, the role you want to play. Maybe you don't know yet. Maybe that's the adventure of, like, you're comfortable enough in your life where you're wanting a different adventure. It doesn't mean you have to do anything drastic. You might, but there is such a strong certainty and authority within yourself, and you're not like running. It's not flight. And if you feel flight, and if you're in that place, you're finding you're able to, through this experience, find that groundedness, that authority, that parent within yourself. And it could be on a wide range of spectrum. Okay, so take it easy, do what you need to do. Maybe you need to run, maybe you need to sleep, maybe it's both. So communicate and you could also want to make money with a partner. That could be a plan. Establish boundaries and keep it open as you go forward. Overly authoritarian in any dynamic could be very could set you back. So as long as there's an openness and exchange, like actually not just said, really important. Okay, Virgo? And if you're looking for the next part, that will be in the link below. We'll get way more into it. Talk to you forever. See you next time.